Wife embarrassed me with poor skills remark in front of her friends. Her expression when I revealed her hidden truth was unforgettable. Me 41 never thought I'd be telling this story. Been living with my wife Olivia, 39, for almost 9 years. Married for 8 of those years. Always thought we had something decent going. Not perfect, but whose marriage is? Been working as a corporate risk management consultant for 15 years. Started from nothing, no college degree. Just worked my ass off and learned everything possible. My old man taught me something important. Education isn't just about schools and degrees. He was a carpenter, worked with wood his whole life. One of the wisest people I've known. Taught me that respect comes from actions, not empty words. Built my reputation on handling difficult clients, the ones nobody else wanted to deal with. Became known as the problem solver, the fixer. Always kept myself in good shape. Hit the gym 4 to 5 times every week. Used to play lacrosse in college. Got into amateur kickboxing in my 20s. Nothing professional, but won more fights than lost. Not huge or anything, just proud of staying fit. 6'1", around 185 pounds, mostly muscle. Never had issues with confidence. At least not until recent years of my marriage. Wife works in medical equipment sales. One of those jobs where looks and schmoozing matter more than product knowledge. Always talking about networking and connections. Climbing that corporate ladder? The type who picks restaurants based on who might see her there. One Thursday, she insists we host dinner party for her co-workers and spouses. It's important for my career, she says in that tone. The one that means no room for discussion. Not big on hosting parties myself. Would rather watch basketball with friends. But it matters to her, so whatever. Spend the whole day making everything perfect. Clean the entire house top to bottom. Cook a full 3-course meal. Always enjoyed cooking, Dad taught me that too. Make this prime rib that takes 7 hours to cook properly. Everything done from scratch. Homemade appetizers. Even bake a tiramisu myself. Make sure the wine is at perfect temperature. Everything set up perfectly. Evening starts fine. Everyone's enjoying appetizers. Making small talk. Complimenting my cooking. All these medical equipment sales types, dressed like they just stepped out of a fashion magazine. Perfect hair. Perfect teeth. Perfect fake smiles. Start thinking maybe this won't be so bad. Can handle being the good host for one night. Then Olivia hits her 3rd glass of wine. Know her patterns by now. Beer makes her sleepy. Hard liquor makes her angry. But wine makes her mean. Conversation somehow turns to relationships. See that look on her face? That smile that means trouble is coming. Like watching a car crash in slow motion. Can't do anything to stop it. She turns to her colleagues. You know what's funny, she says. Voice way louder than necessary. When we first met, I thought he would be this amazing catch. Tall, successful, impressive in all areas. She emphasizes all like it's some bad comedy routine. Immediately on edge. Know exactly where this is going. Her colleague's husband asks, and he isn't? Everyone laughs, thinking it's just married couple banter. Then she holds up her hand, pinches thumb and index finger together, barely any space between them. Some things don't measure up to expectations. Whole table erupts in laughter, sitting there with my face burning red. But she's not even done. Honestly, it's like being married to a teenage boy. Quick to start, quicker to finish, if you know what I mean. More laughter. Sometimes I wonder if I should buy him a booster seat for dinner. One of her female co-workers tries changing the subject, probably feeling how uncomfortable this is. But Olivia keeps going. No, really, it's fine. We all have our crosses to bear. Mine's just smaller than most. Raises her glass in a mocking toast. Just sit there frozen. Food untouched. Hands gripping napkin so hard knuckles turn white. Conversation finally moves on. But damage is done. Can see it in everyone's eyes. Pity. Embarrassment. That uncomfortable awareness you can't unsee. My manhood, confidence, dignity, all laid out as a joke at my own dinner table. Worst part is this isn't even the first time. Just the first time in front of people I'll have to face again. Keep thinking about how I cooked all this food, cleaned this house. And this is how she treats me. But like always, just swallow it down. Smile through it. Because that's what men are supposed to do, right? Suck it up. Don't make a scene, but something breaks in me that night. Something that won't be fixed. What hurts most isn't just the humiliation. It's realizing my closest ally, my partner, thinks so little of me, uses my most private insecurities as dinner entertainment. Somehow make it through rest of dinner on autopilot. Clearing plates, refilling drinks, forcing smiles. making sure everyone has coffee and dessert, playing the perfect host while dying inside. Behind my smile, something is breaking. Something fundamental shifting in how I see my marriage, how I see my wife, how I see myself. After everyone leaves, she acts like nothing happened, kicks off her heels, flops on the couch, starts scrolling through her phone. Confront her about it. She completely dismisses my feelings. Oh, lighten up, it was just a joke. Everyone has these playful jabs at their partners. You're being too sensitive. Doesn't even look up from her phone. Would you like it if I made jokes about your body in front of your colleagues? Try to keep my voice level. She rolls her eyes. God, you're so dramatic. It's different for men and women. Besides, they all know I love you. Gets up and heads to bedroom. I'm tired, don't stay up too late cleaning. That night as she sleeps soundly beside me, lay awake staring at ceiling, her words playing on repeat in my mind. Not the first time she's made comments like this. First time she's done it so publicly, so deliberately. Think about my dad and what he taught me. He was old school. Believed a man should provide, protect, and persevere. Worked same carpentry job for 40 years. Never complained once. Even when his hands got so arthritic he could barely hold tools. Son, he told me once, the measure of a man isn't in his wallet or his pants. It's in how he carries himself when life gets heavy. Dad died 2 years ago. Cancer. Fought it like a champion right to the end. Never complained, not even once. Just kept telling us not to worry. That he'd had a good life. That's the kind of man I wanted to be. The kind of husband I tried to be. Carried this marriage for years. Taking her jabs, her criticism, her disrespect, all because I thought that's what a good husband does. My dad would never have complained about his marriage. He and Mom were together 45 years when he died. Pretty sure Mom never mocked his manhood in front of friends, though. But this dinner party was different. This was the catalyst that finally opened my eyes to the truth of our relationship. Sometimes humiliation can be the wake-up call you never knew you needed. As I lay there, start to wonder, when had I become this person? This pushover who would smile and serve dessert after being emasculated in front of strangers. Dad taught me to be strong, to be respectful. But he never taught me to be a doormat. Realized something else too. Dad and Mom had disagreements, sure. But there was always respect there. Always love. Can't remember last time I felt respected by Olivia. If I'm being honest with myself, can't remember last time I felt loved either. Morning comes with newfound clarity. Haven't felt this clear-headed in years. This isn't a partnership. This is something else. Something toxic. For first time, allow myself to consider a word. Never associated it with my marriage before. Abuse. That dinner party wasn't just a one-off thing. As I lay awake that night, memories come flooding back. Constant stream of small cuts. Slowly bled my self-worth dry over our years together. In the beginning, her comments were subtle, disguised as jokes or helpful suggestions. Maybe you should wear shoes with thicker soles, she'd say before we went to events with her colleagues. It might help you look more authoritative. I'd laugh it off. Think she was just being practical? You might want to let me order for both of us. She'd say at restaurants with her friends, you always choose the wrong wine. Then she'd pat my hand like I was a child. This despite being in great shape. Used to compete in amateur kickboxing fights in my 20s. Nothing professional, but held my own. She knew this. Hell, I have a small trophy case in our basement. She insisted we hide it when her parents first visited. It seems so aggressive, she'd said. Don't want them to think you're some kind of meathead. She'd always find ways to minimize my accomplishments, while highlighting her own. When I closed a big account at work, she'd say that's nice and change subject. But if she got smallest recognition at her job, we'd have to go out to celebrate. She'd talk about it for weeks. Then came the bedroom comments. What started as guidance quickly turned to criticism. Is that it? She'd ask with visible disappointment. Or worse, she'd sigh and turn away, mumbling, don't worry about it. I'm used to it by now. Each time I tried harder to please her, only to face more disappointment. More sighs, more subtle head shakes. Remember this one time? Suggested trying something new in bed. Nothing crazy, just mixing things up a bit. She laughed and said, that's cute, but you can barely handle the basics. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. After a while, stopped initiating. Why set yourself up for failure? Then she started complaining I never initiated anymore. Most husbands actually want to sleep with their wives. She'd say, like being trapped in a no-win situation. My promotion at work 3 years ago should have been celebration. Finally made senior consultant after years of grinding. 40% pay increase and company car. Instead, when I proudly told her, she responded, "That's nice, I guess." They must not have had many options this year. Then immediately changed subject to her own work accomplishments. Remember standing in our kitchen, bottle of 25-year-old scotch unopened. As she talked about herself for 40 minutes straight, bought that bottle to celebrate with her. Ended up drinking it alone in garage month later, while working on my project car, a '67 Mustang I'd been restoring for years. Garage became my sanctuary, one place she rarely went, because she didn't like the smell. In retrospect, probably only part of my life. She hadn't completely invaded and critiqued. Family gatherings were another battlefield. She'd introduce me to distant relatives. Hand on my shoulder. "This is my husband. He's not what I expected when I dreamed about marriage as a little girl. But we make do, don't we, honey?" All while wearing that perfect smile. Made everyone think she was just being playfully affectionate. When we'd shop for clothes, she'd hold up smaller sizes. "Maybe someday, right?" Say it right in front of store assistants. If I tried something on that I liked. She'd frown slightly. "It's fine if that's what you want. But it doesn't really do you any favors." Even my hobbies weren't safe. When I started taking kickboxing again, something I'd always enjoyed, she laughed and told her friends on the phone, "It's his midlife crisis, I think. He's trying to recapture his glory days, but mostly he just comes home sore and whiny." Stopped going after 3 months. The worst was when my dad got sick. Instead of supporting me through the hardest time of my life, she turned it into a chore. "Do we have to go visit him again?" "We just went last weekend." Or, "I don't see why you need to be there so much. The doctors are doing everything they can." Night after his funeral, she complained I was bringing the mood down at home. Suggested I try to move on. My father wasn't even in the ground yet, and she was telling me to get over it. Looking back now, can see so clearly what I couldn't see then. This was a pattern of systematic emotional abuse. Death by 1,000 cuts, each one small enough to dismiss individually, but together they had nearly destroyed me. The most messed up pattern was how she'd build me up in private, just enough to tear me down in public. She'd say I looked handsome as we got ready for an event, only to later tell everyone how she had to help me coordinate my outfit, because he dresses like a colorblind teenager. She'd praise a meal I cooked at home, then tell dinner guests I was still learning basic techniques. Our vacations followed the same script. She'd criticize my planning abilities, my navigation skills, my restaurant choices, all while documenting our perfect couple moments for social media. The contrast between her online portrayal of our marriage and the reality was crazy. Night after that dinner party, scrolling through her Instagram, she'd posted photos from the evening, amazing dinner with amazing friends and my amazing husband who made it all happen, comments filled with heart emojis, and couple goals responses. That's when it truly hit me. I was living in 2 different marriages. The public one she crafted online, and the private one where I was constantly reminded I wasn't enough. As morning light came through our bedroom curtains, realized with startling clarity, this wasn't love. This was abuse. And it had been happening for years. The realization that I was in an abusive marriage changed something inside me. For first time, started paying attention to little things I'd been ignoring, like how protective she was with her phone, how she'd always turn it face down when I entered room, how she'd step outside to take certain calls, claiming they were work-related, even at 10 p.m. on weekends. Never been the jealous type. Trusted her completely, even when friends hinted I maybe shouldn't. All those overnight conferences, my buddy Thomas had said once, just seems convenient. I'd shut him down immediately. She's not like that. Her career is important to her. 2 days after dinner party, she leaves her phone on kitchen counter while taking shower. It buzzes repeatedly with incoming messages. Never snooped before. Trust had always been important to me, even when I was the only one practicing it. But something made me look this time. Lock screen showed messages from someone saved as BT training. Missing you already, baby. Last night was incredible. Still feel you on me. When can you get away again? Need more of that ass? My hands were shaking as I picked up her phone. By some bitter coincidence, she hadn't changed her password. Since we'd set up each other's phones years ago, opened message thread, and felt room spin around me. Hundreds of messages stretched back months, explicit photos, detailed accounts of hotel meetups, plans for their next encounter. This gym guy wasn't even her coworker like I'd first thought. He was some loser she met at a work conference, a part-time personal trainer who worked at her hotel's gym, but mostly lived off his parents at 37. From their messages gathered, he was living in their basement apartment, driving his dad's old car. They had inside jokes about me, about my job, about my performance in bed, about how clueless I was. Most recent messages discussed their plans for tomorrow night. Apparently I would be working late, which was news to me. But what truly destroyed me were messages where they discussed me. He has no idea, she'd written. Too busy trying to please me to notice anything. Guy had asked if she felt guilty for being with a real man for once. He should thank me for staying with him this long. At least BT knows how to use what he's got, even if all he's got is a big D and not much else LOL. Scrolled further back, finding messages from night of dinner party. He just sits there and takes it, she'd written. I practically called him tiny and inadequate in front of everyone. And he still served dessert with a smile. It's almost too easy. BT responded, that's because he knows he can't do better than you. Bet he gets off thinking about you with a real man. There were pictures too, comparing us, explicit details about how much bigger and better BT was, how he could go all night while I couldn't last 5 minutes, how she'd come home from their meetups and lie next to me still feeling him inside her. Felt sick, felt rage, but mostly felt strange, cold clarity that I hadn't felt in years. Kept reading, unable to stop myself. Messages went back 7 months almost to the day, but there were references to others before BT. Mentions of a Christopher, and someone called PT, who apparently had been fun while it lasted. My entire marriage flashed before my eyes. All those late nights at the office, the weekend conferences, the girls' trips. Had any of it been real? Had she ever been faithful? Heard the shower turn off upstairs. With mechanical precision, took screenshots of key conversations, texted them to myself, then deleted the messages from her phone, replaced it exactly where I'd found it. Walked to kitchen sink, splashed cold water on my face. When she came downstairs, wrapped in her robe with hair and towel. Sleep well? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. Like a baby, she replied, completely unaware her world was about to crash down. Printed key documents and screenshots, secured them in a folder, then called my buddy Thomas, asked if I could stay at his place for a few days. Thomas and I go way back to high school. Kind of friend who would help you bury a body. Never ask questions. We played lacrosse together. Got into our share of trouble as teenagers. He was best man at my wedding. Everything okay? He asked immediately, sensing something was wrong. Not really, I admitted. Can't talk about it right now. But I need a place to crash for a bit. Mi casa es su casa, brother, he said without hesitation. Want me to bring whiskey? Maybe tomorrow, I said. Tonight I need a clear head. Next I contacted a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but Catherine Stone, reputed to be most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago. Her firm's tagline was literally, "We don't get even, we get everything." I can see you at 3 p.m., she said. After hearing briefest outline of my situation, bring any financial records you can gather. And those screenshots? Spent next hour gathering what I could. Without raising suspicion, bank statements, investment account information, even took photos of her jewelry collection. Things I bought her over years, worth thousands. That evening acted completely normal, asked about her day, made dinner, suggested watching her favorite show, all while folder sat hidden in my briefcase by door, all while she texted him, right next to me on couch, smiling at her phone screen. Good news at work? I asked casually. Just a project coming together, she replied, without looking up. Nothing you'd understand. Nodded and sipped my bourbon. Studying her face, this stranger I'd shared my life with for 9 years, woman who had systematically destroyed my self-worth, while betraying me in most fundamental way possible. I love you, I said. Testing the words, she glanced up briefly. Love you too, she responded automatically. Before returning to her phone, that moment of practiced empty routine made everything crystal clear. Wasn't just being belittled and mocked, was being actively deceived by someone who held no real love for me, and for first time since this nightmare began, felt something unexpected rising within me. Not heartbreak, not even anger, but a cool clarifying resolve. It was time to end the charade. Not going to lie, Part of me wanted to confront her right then, to throw her phone against wall, watch her face as I laid out every detail I knew. The old me, the fighter who never backed down from challenge, was screaming to be let loose, but strategist in me, part that helped me climb from entry level to senior consultant, knew better. This wasn't a bar fight. This was psychological warfare, and I needed to be smart. So I waited, and I planned. Meeting with Catherine went exactly as I'd hoped. She was cold, calculating, and completely on my side. This is an extremely strong case, she said, reviewing evidence I'd gathered. The infidelity is well documented, and from what you've described, there's a clear pattern of emotional abuse. What do I do next? I asked. Don't confront her yet, Catherine advised. We need to secure your assets first. Move half the money from joint accounts to new personal account. Document every item of value in-house. Forward me any additional evidence of affairs. And most importantly, don't let her know you're planning to leave. Until we're ready, followed her instructions to letter. Over next 2 days, methodically prepared for end of my marriage, opened new bank account at different bank, documented our assets, even took day off work to move essential belongings to Thomas's place. While she was at work, also did one more thing, found BT's social media accounts, figured out who his parents were. Quick search revealed their address, same basement apartment he was living in. Did some digging, found out his dad was actually minister at local church. That information might come in handy later. Everything was in place for confrontation. I knew had to happen. That evening prepared her favorite dinner, grilled salmon with roasted asparagus and white wine. She came home surprised by romantic setup. What's the occasion? She asked, tossing her keys on counter. Just felt like doing something nice, I replied, pouring her glass of wine. How was your day? Busy, stressful, the usual. She checked her phone again, probably messaging BT. Before sitting down, we ate in relative silence. Until I finally spoke. I need to talk to you about something important. She sighed dramatically. Can it wait? I'm exhausted. No, it can't. Placed folder on table between us. I know about the affair. Her expression cycles rapidly through shock, then denial, then calculation. Before settling on indignation, what are you talking about? Open the folder. Lay out evidence piece by piece. The hotel receipts, text messages, screenshots, restaurant bills, phone records. You went through my phone? She snaps, attempting to flip the script. That's a complete invasion of privacy. Yes, I did, I admit calmly. After years of your emotional abuse and public humiliation, I finally listened to my instincts. She laughs incredulously. Abuse? Are you serious right now? I've supported you through everything. You've belittled me at every opportunity, I counter. You've mocked my height, my performance in bed, my career, all while sleeping with some deadbeat who lives in his parents' basement. Her eyes widen. You don't know anything about BT. I know enough. I know he's 37 and lives with mommy and daddy. I know his father's a minister. Who would probably be fascinated to learn what his son has been up to. I know he's not even on your company payroll. Despite you listing him as work contact, her strategy shifts instantly. Tears form in her eyes. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. We can work through this. The affair is just one part of why this marriage is over, I explain, maintaining my composure. Even without it, I wouldn't stay with someone who treats me with such contempt. She reaches across table for my hand. I pull back. You don't understand, she pleads. I've been under so much pressure at work. He was just there. It was a moment of weakness. 7 months of moments, I correct her. And the things you said about me, her tears vanish instantly, replaced by cold fury. Fine, you want the truth? Yes, I've been unhappy. What did you expect? You never satisfied me? Not financially. Not emotionally. Not physically. I nod, almost relieved to finally hear her honest thoughts. That's exactly why I'm leaving. I deserve better than someone who sees me that way. You? She scoffs. Better than me? Good luck finding anyone. Who will put up with your limitations? She gestures dismissively at my crotch. By limitations, do you mean my inability to detect liars? Because that's definitely improved recently. I smile, feeling strangely calm. Or maybe you mean my limitation. Of believing my wife when she said she loved me. That one's cured too. Her face contorts with anger. You think this is funny? You think you can just walk away from me? I'm not walking away from you, I correct her. I'm walking away from this. Gesture between us. This isn't a marriage. It's a performance. And I'm done playing my part. In that moment, looking at her beautiful face, twisted with cruelty, feel strange sense of peace. This woman had never loved me. She'd only loved controlling me, diminishing me. I've already spoken to a lawyer, I say. The divorce papers will be ready tomorrow. I'll be staying elsewhere until it's finalized. Her expression changes again, panic breaking through the contempt. You can't be serious. Where will you go? What will people think? I don't care what people think anymore, I reply. Standing up, that was always your concern. Not mine. Move toward door, where I'd stashed my overnight bag earlier. She rushes after me, grabbing my arm. Wait, we need to talk about this. You can't just throw away 9 years. Remove her hand firmly. You threw them away? One comment, one lie, one betrayal at a time. You'll never make it without me, she hisses. Her mask completely fallen now. You were nothing when I met you. I made you who you are. Laugh at that. Genuinely amused. Is that what you tell yourself? That the senior consultant with his own house and car was nothing? That the guy everyone at work respects was nothing? That's some impressive revisionist history. Where will you go? She demands again. That's no longer your concern, I say simply. For first time in our marriage, see something new in her eyes. Not love, not affection, but stunned recognition that I was no longer under her control. You'll regret this, she whispers. You'll never find anyone like me. Smile genuinely. That's exactly what I'm counting on. Walk out of our house that night. Just a duffel bag and laptop. Cool evening air feels like freedom against my face. Thomas waiting in his truck at end of block. Had arranged everything down to minute. She follows me to porch, voice shifting between rage and desperation. You think this is some kind of movie moment? She shouts. You think you're teaching me a lesson? Get back inside. Keep walking. Not looking back. Her voice changes again. Please, she calls, softer now. I'm sorry. We can fix this. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever you want. For a second, my steps falter, 9 years of habit nearly pulling me back into her orbit. She doesn't look happy, Thomas observes as we drive away. She's not used to losing control, I reply. Later that night, after a few drinks at Thomas's place, he finally asks question I knew was coming. What happened, man? I thought you guys were solid. Show him some of screenshots. His face darkens as he reads them. Jesus Christ, he mutters. What a psycho. I always thought there was something off about her. But this is next level. Yeah, I agree. Taking another swig of bourbon. Crazy thing is I didn't even see it until now. It's like I've been underwater for years. And I just finally came up for air. Thomas puts his hand on my shoulder. You're going to be okay, brother. You're staying here as long as you need. And when you're ready, we're going to celebrate your freedom. Next 3 days were blur of practical matters. My lawyer expedited divorce papers, opened new accounts, arranged for moving company, to collect remaining possessions while she was at work, found small apartment and signed 6-month lease. Throughout it all, my phone never stopped. Her messages came in waves, angry then pleading, then threatening, then bargaining. You can't do this to me, 3:47 a.m. Please come home and talk about this, 4:12 a.m. If you go through with this, I'll make sure everyone knows what a failure you are in bed, 7:03 a.m. I didn't mean it, baby. I was just angry. I love you so much. Please call me 11:30 a.m. Don't respond to any of them. My lawyer advised against it, and frankly had nothing left to say. She showed up at my office, creating scene that only reinforced my decision. My assistant had to call security to escort her out. My boss called me into his office afterward. Is everything okay? He asked, concerned. That seemed intense. Take deep breath. Decide to be honest. I'm getting divorced. Found out my wife has been cheating on me, among other issues. To my surprise, he nods sympathetically. Been there? My first wife had an affair with our neighbor. Worst time of my life? But trust me, it gets better. I hope so, I say. Take whatever time you need, he offers. And if you need someone to talk to, who's been through it? My door's open. She sent her sister to talk sense into me, which backfired. When her sister, after hearing full story, quietly told me she understood my decision. She's always been like this, her sister confessed. She did same thing to her college boyfriend. Made him feel worthless until he believed it. Why didn't you ever say anything? I asked. Her sister looked down, ashamed. I tried once. She didn't speak to me for a year afterward. I guess I was a coward. I didn't stop there, though. Remember how I mentioned BT's dad was minister? Sent anonymous package to his church with printouts of more explicit messages between BT and my wife. Nothing identifying her directly, but enough that his parents would know what their precious boy was up to, breaking up marriage, and living lifestyle that directly contradicted their teachings. Was it petty? Maybe, but sometimes karma needs little help. On fourth day, returned to house with police escort to collect some personal items. Didn't trust movers with family photos, heirlooms from my parents, important documents. She was waiting, eyes red and puffy. You called the police on me? She hisses as I enter. I'm just here for my things, I say, moving past her to our bedroom. She follows me, watching silently as I collect what remained of my life before her. What about all the good times? She finally asks. You're just throwing everything away. Pause, considering my answer carefully. No, I reply. You did that when you decided I wasn't enough. I never said, you didn't have to say it. You showed it every day, in thousand tiny ways. For first time, she seems to have no response. She stands in doorway, diminished somehow. As I carry my box toward front door, as I reach threshold, she makes one last attempt. Your name is still on mortgage, she says. You're still responsible for half. I nod. The lawyer will sort that out. Sell house if you need to. I can't afford it alone, she admits. Vulnerability breaking through her armor. That's not my problem anymore. Her face contorts with flash of old contempt. This is exactly why I needed someone else. You're too weak to even fight for our marriage. Look at her. Really look at her one last time. In that moment, see her clearly. Not goddess I'd placed on pedestal. Not cruel manipulator of recent days. Just flawed, insecure person who had built herself up by tearing others down. I'm not fighting for something that hurts me. I say simply, that's not weakness. That's self-respect. Closed door behind me. Her first genuine sob breaking through as it clicks shut. Sound follows me down walkway. Raw, uncontrolled, and strangely satisfying. In police officer's car, I exhale fully, for what feels like first time in years. My phone buzzes again with her incoming call. Turn it off. All good? Officer asks. Getting there, I reply. Watching our house shrink in side mirrors as we drive away. Officer, older guy with graying temples, nods knowingly. Been on a lot of these domestic calls. Never gets easier. Domestic? I'm not, I start to protest. Not all abuse leaves bruises, son, he says quietly. Seen plenty of men in your position. Nobody talks about it much. But it happens. Hadn't really thought about it in those terms before. Me, victim of domestic abuse. Didn't fit image I had of myself. But then again, neither did cheated on husband or divorced guy at 41. Life has a way of giving you identities. You never asked for. 6 months can change everything. Divorce was finalized faster than expected. She didn't contest it once she realized I wouldn't return. Catherine, my lawyer, was ruthlessly efficient. Got fair division of assets. Didn't try to take her to cleaners, even though probably could have just wanted out. House sold quickly in hot market. After splitting proceeds, had enough to place down payment on sleek condo downtown, closer to my office. 2 bedrooms, industrial style, with exposed brick and big windows, complete opposite of suburban McMansion we'd lived in. This place actually felt like me. Later heard through mutual friends. Her medical equipment company downsized her division. 2 months after our separation, apparently her boss had been protecting her mediocre performance because they were having an affair too. When his wife found out and threatened divorce, he ended things with her, and she was first one cut in layoffs. For those asking if I was weak, for not confronting her earlier, or not fighting harder for relationship. Listen up. Staying in abusive relationship isn't strength. Leaving one is, and fighting for relationship only works. When both people are fighting for same thing, if you're with someone who constantly makes you feel inadequate, who betrays your trust, who mocks you in front of others, that's not love. That's possession. Know the difference. And for the guys asking how to know if you're in an abusive relationship, if you constantly walk on eggshells around your partner, if you can't remember last time you felt respected by them, if they build themselves up by tearing you down, if they isolate you from friends and family, those are pretty big red flags. Check out Dr. Jensen's work on contempt in relationships was eye-opening for